There's one slight problem with that, of course, that abiding means waiting. Oh, and don't you love living in a Western culture? Not. We don't do waiting, do we? Hate waiting. Waiting, whether it's waiting for hospital test results, a bus, a phone call, internet, broadband, lack of, whatever. We don't do waiting very well. I know she won't mind me saying this, but this Thursday I had the incredible privilege of attending a Quaker funeral service. Well, I have to... Should we modify that, Mary? I attended a Quaker funeral service which was officiated over by an Anglican in a Baptist church. Now, get your head around that if you can. The thing about the Quakers, the Society of Friends, is that it's really weird for, how should I call it, a raving Pentecostal to be told, if you've never attended a Quaker worship service before, our worship is silent. And they mean it. Absolute silence. And the only instruction, you'd have liked this, Keith, talk about a nice little learner. The only instruction this dear man gave was, if you wish to speak, please stand up and speak clearly and we will finish with the handshake. Correct? Yeah. Then starts the waiting. We're all sitting in a circle, waiting for somebody to say something about the dear lady who died. Now, thankfully, they did. But it wasn't, it was, I'm going to say my 4 sentences, or however many they wanted. And it was never more than about that. And we then wait. And then there'd be somebody else, and then we'd wait. Half an hour is a very long time when you're not used to doing things that way. And we are not used to waiting. We expect everything on tap immediately. But I tell you what that did for me. It taught me that you could focus more on the small things. We both commented the bird song was quite extraordinary. When there is no traffic, nothing else, nobody speaking, and you listen. And I tell you, when you abide, when you begin to soak God back up, you hear things that you would never hear in the busyness. Yeah? Things that you may not expect to hear. I know for a fact that Barbie would not have liked to have abided in the last 10 weeks in the way that she has, not doing the busyness of midwifery. But I know that God has spoken in a situation that she never expected to be there. She's able to hear. And we interpret quietness in very different ways in our society. When God wants to take us aside to help us get ready for much fruit, not just fruit, much fruit, we take it as a sign that if we're not doing something, there's something wrong. I began to think, I have enough props on this platform as it is tonight, but I wondered if I had a hospital gurney here. And on it, I was getting prepared for, let's say, a simple procedure, an appendectomy. And Dr. Gareth has now been promoted to Mr. Sherwood. Always strikes me as unusual that a consultant changes the doc for Mr., but hey, they used to or they don't anymore? Yeah. If you're doing surgery, you become a Mr. instead of a doc. Okay. So there I am on the gurney waiting for my operation. And the anaesthetist is just about to put the mask on my head. And that's the moment I choose to start talking to Gareth. Do you understand the procedure you're about to do? Is everyone in the room that needs to be here? Are you sure you can handle any problems that might arise out of this appendectomy? Have you done this before? How old are you? Where did you train? Did you fail any of your examinations, and particularly in appendicectomy, or whatever they call it? And what is your success rate in this procedure? That is not the time to be asking the questions. You should have asked them before. But don't you find that very often we will come before God and say, do you know what you're doing? Why now? Have you done this before? What is your success rate in this? No, of course we don't. We have to trust the surgeon, and we have to trust God. Yes? God does know what he's doing. Abiding is about trust. In order to produce the much fruit, we have to realize that the emphasis is upon growth in us and growth in others. Yes? When we support somebody else and they move on, it's not because we failed, it's because we've done our job. But our responsibility then is to go back deep into the vine, ready for the next one. Now, that may be winning souls. That would be, to me, the primary fruit. But there are also other ministries. What is God calling you to do? Whatever it is, remember the principle. You have to abide and grow yourself before growth can happen anywhere else. It's the principle that Jesus used all the time. He ministered, he went to the mountains to pray. He ministered, he went to the mountains to pray. We spend all of our life trying to produce. Whether it's a works target or anything. And we don't take the time we need to recover. We must do that in order to be ready. God works at his pace and his timetable for his plans and purposes. For you see, you have no idea in your wonderful, lofty position as a branch of how much work God has been doing in the soil. Enriching, removing stones, getting everything ready. All you see is, well, nothing much happening here. And it might look like winter to you. But after every winter comes spring. And what to you looks like fallow, to God is intense preparation. Don't reject it. Don't think, I haven't done anything right. God doesn't love me anymore. Miles Connor does things wonderfully, but I'm rubbish. And he does, by the way. No. God is preparing you to be the branch that he wants in his vine. You are not a vine. You are not a gardener. You are a branch. Rejoice in it. This is the time to enrich your soul and be watchful. Don't just say, I'm a branch. There is that sense of being alert, being strong, ready to actually take the sap of God and move it through to the life of another one. Don't get bitter. It's not about sour grapes. Don't throw a tantrum. That branch is right at the top and gets all the light, and I'm down here, and you are positioned exactly where God wants you to be. Just relax into it. You're a branch. And Jesus says at the end of John 15, if I can find it again, that all of this would be to the specific glory of God. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you to go and bear fruit. Listen to this. Fruit that will last. I am not interested in fruit in my life that is going to last a few weeks. I am interested in fruit that will remain. Choose to cultivate the habit of abiding. And then you will produce not just tiddly fruit, much fruit. I was going to have a song, but I think we're going to leave it because time's overrun us. I don't want you misinterpreting this. It's ever so easy to misinterpret quieter times in our life. Satan will always try and interpret things negatively. You treat this as a precious time of restoration, refilling, reabsorption, and stand tall. That you will be in exactly the right place for the most amazing fruit. He will take the glory, but oh, the joy of being a quality branch that can support new birth, that will know enough of the word to get alongside. And when someone says, you will explain the Trinity to me, won't you? Please don't ask them, go and ask Pat Kennett. Find out for yourself. So that he does this to me all the time, our dear beloved leader. Go and ask Pat. No, find out for yourself. Yes? Find out. And if you don't know the answer, say, do you know, I'm not sure about that. Let's meet for coffee next week and we'll both look into it. Whoa, that's growth development. Do it deliberately, productively, and on purpose. I am the vine. You are the branches. And I have appointed you that you should bear much fruit and that your fruit should remain.